So in this video, let's discuss something called React DevTools. React DevTools, you can see that in console logs sometimes if you have not installed that particular extension, then it will say that you can download the React DevTools extension for a better development experience. If you click on here, then for Chrome or Firefox or Edge, but I'll just go ahead with Chrome because my browser is Chrome right now, and you can add it to Chrome. And if you add it, then essentially you can go ahead and click here pin, and then it will come here. Okay, now you can see that it is saying that this page is obviously not React, and that's why it is not coming. But if you go to a page which is React, then you can see that this warning which was there earlier, that is gone, and now this sort of reddish thing is coming, right? And this red thing is sort of thing is coming because this is right now in dev mode. So if you try to stop the server and then you do npm run build, and then we will do try to run it in production mode, then first of all we'll see that that thing is gone. If the page is not loaded, or if the page is not React page, then this thing will be disabled. If the page is React page and it is a development bundle, then it will be red. And if it is a prod mode, which means that it is a production bundle, then you will see that this will be blue. Okay, so anyways, let's go back to our dev mode, because generally you should be on dev mode because that is mainly used for debugging. Okay, if it is used for debugging, then you should definitely be in dev mode. So this is right. Now what happens is that if you install this, then if you click here, then after that here two things like components or profiler, these sort of things should be added here in the menu. But you can see this is not added because I have to restart the browser. So what we can do is that I can, or you can open a new window. So if you open a new window and we print that, then we will see that now we are getting this let's see, now we are getting this components and profiler, right? Now if you go to components, then you will get this sort of tree which is useful in our debugging. Okay, so you can see that all the entire hierarchy. So from the beginning you can see that firstly user context provider is there, that is fine. So your user context provider is there, and then context.provider, how to rename it to different thing, that we'll see later. But right now just see basic components. So this app is there after that. So this app component is there, right? Inside app, what is there? Inside app you will see that again theme provider is there, so which is another context provider. Inside that div is there, so you can see that inside app context provider is there, and inside that this header is there, greeting is there. So obviously the native, this is like React specific, so all the React components will come. This div and this button, this sort of thing will not come, because the main purpose of this extension is to help you debug React components. Okay, so inside that you can see that header is there, greeting is there. Okay, it is there, and within greeting, this one we are using right now, class component. So within greeting you can see that this my div1, my div2 is there. So you can see that actually this thing is my div1, but actual component is my div. Okay, when it was created, and that's why this thing is my div. Now there is a, and you can see that with border is the with border here and with border here is the name of the higher order component, which is, so essentially higher order component is what, like that essentially just a composition, right? Higher order component means that there is a composition where the outer component is created, is this component, and the wrapped component is the component which is passed. So what is passed? My div is passed. Okay, so yeah, so that's why it is behaving like that. Anyways, yeah, anyways, so you can clearly see that this thing is fine now. If you want a better display of these things, then we are having some ways, which means that let's say the names which are coming, if you want to change those names, then there are some ways to do it. So first thing what we can do is that let's take this my div one, right? My div, let's say I, instead of my div, I have to display it as something else. Okay, which means that I want, then I can do something like my div dot display name is equal to anything, let's say x y z, anything you write. Okay, then you see that the name has changed to xyz, but obviously we should not name it xyz. So the ideal thing is that it should be named my div1, because we later uh, called it my div1, and this is going inside the JSX with my div1. So earlier its name was my div because the class was created with my div name, but if it is given a my div1 name, then that would be appropriate here. Okay, so you can see that my div1 is coming here. The idea is that if any component, if you use this name, this sort of name dot, you attach this thing, display name, this field, then what happens is that that thing will be automatically available here, right? And now you can use the same trick in higher order components also. So for example, here it is like with border, here also it is with border. Let's say you want to sort of customize it to some extent, which means that I don't want it to be named generically with like with border or something. Rather, I want it some custom name. That custom name you can do something like this. Let's say with border dot display name is equal to, and then you can use something like this. Let's say uh, with border, and then you are customizing it in a sense that you are writing that okay, so what is the problem? See, the thing is that I want the wrapped component display name. The wrapped component is comp, right? So I want something like comp dot display name. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, so now you can see. Okay, so my div with border. So you can see the problem is that this sort of thing is so with border, this is the way in which they try to show it. But you can see the problem is that sometimes this my div1 is coming and this undefined is coming, because specifically display name is not defined for this thing. Okay, okay, so what happens is that you can use a generic function. You can use a generic function something like this, where you can say that instead of directly using like this, I will use something like this comp. So what is happening in get display name, I will pass comp, which is essentially the wrapped component, and from the wrapped component, if display name is there, then I will take the display name. If it is not there, I will try dot name. Otherwise I will try simply I will give name as a component, right? So now you see that this div1 and div2 both are coming, because uh, sometimes you can understand that display name, if you specifically mention, then only it will come. So now it takes care of all other things. In case of functions, in case of classes, if name is already available, then it will take that name. Otherwise, if higher up the order somewhere you have specified the display name, then it will take that display name, that will be highest priority. And both of them, nothing is there, then it will rather than just showing undefined, it will rather show component. Okay, so in this case we can do this, right? And this sort of thing you can try it, this sort of thing you can do actually in while you are creating context also. In context also we can rename, let's say we specifically want that whether it is user context or theme context, or maybe I'll show you after some time. Okay, but here you can see that let's say I am on my div component, my div 1, okay, or here, okay, and then you can see that if I click on that I, then we go there. So you can see that if I click on my div 2 and then I click on I, then it will go to the DOM element where that thing is mentioned. Okay, so you can see here, if I was in my div 1 and then I clicked, then you can see that I went in the first one. So you can jump to the particular DOM element where that thing is defined by this I icon. Second is this sort of bug icon. This is used for logging the information regarding this this component. Okay, so right now let's say console, let's clear the console. On the console nothing is there. Then let's go here and let's this is right now we are div 1. So div 2 143 144 145, you can see. Similarly div 1 158, these things whatever, and so these are the information. Now this information you might be thinking that I need it like printed somewhere. Then you can click on this. If you click on this, then whatever here was there, that will be printed here also. So you can see that, click here to expand, and whatever information was there, that is dumped here. And right now it is props is there, but doesn't matter. Whatever information, props, state, anything it is there, everything will be printed here. So if you delete it, you go back, you go to let's say app component, okay, and you go to context provider, okay, greeting, okay. So whatever so let's say my div this thing is there. So you can see the actual HOC. So the actual HOC, if you see, then here you have a state also, right? The state with particular count inside the HOC. Okay, so you can see that since inside HOC state is there also. So apart from props, state is also there. So you can see that this is also visible. And again, if you want, you can dump this, and you can clearly see that that dump has come here. And then you can see that at that point of time, what was state, what was props. So this sort of thing is helpful in debugging your component in case you are passing something is not coming, and then you want to understand that I don't know why it is happening, or what is happening. So you can inspect various parameters starting from here. Okay, so that is one of the advantages. Now let's see this part. Let's say this is theme context, and here user context is there, right? So this user context is there, and this is theme context, but here you can see that everything is just context. So you can provide something like this. So let's say it is imported from where? It is imported from context, theme context, right? So you go inside this file, and then what we can do is that we can do something like this. We can do theme context dot display name is equal to theme context. If I write something like this, then you can see that now it is not generic context, it is saying properly that theme context dot provider. Similarly, this is simply context provider. If I go here, and here, and I simply write user context dot display name is equal to user context, then that is also now changed to properly user. So that sort of display names, and this is not much useful, right? This is only useful when you are in confusion, that you're not sure that what component you are debugging, what higher order component you are debugging, or what context you are debugging, because these things come in the sort of the component tree diagram, which you, this sort of thing which you will see inside the DevTools, React DevTools. Okay, so then these things become important. Okay, so anyways, this is the way in which you can sort of do some sort of additional debugging using React DevTools, which can be beneficial in such cases. Okay, so that will be all for this one. Thank you.